Hard Parking, sponsored by Honda and RightToyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm your host, Jay Finning, recording from my home studio in Gilbert, Arizona. You know, I often listen back to these podcast episodes because I'm very critical of my own podcast. I want it to sound professional. I do everything here in my home office, the recording, the editing. Most of you who have been with me for a while know that the music, the startup was my old car, the acceleration is my old car. I found the perfect music to go with that. I do all this myself, and so I'm a little critical of my own work. So if I sound a little weird, I'm starting to feel under the weather. Everyone around me is either getting COVID or getting the flu. I feel a little stuffy. But coming up on this episode, I'm going to recap my week and have a lot of random thoughts. You guys know when I'm out and about, I just think of stuff. I jot it down on my phone or I type it into my phone in my notes so that I can share my random insaneness with you all. I recently went on a trip to Tampa. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, which means I have a rental car. There's a new feature that I discovered on Google. A little bit of car news. Fuel Fest was this past weekend. The RightToyota Toy Drive was this past weekend. The Toy Drive had some celebrity guests. There's a YouTube channel that I'm kind of insane about, and my wife accused me of being a doomsday person. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my friend who just retired without telling you too much about my friend because I don't want to get killed. So before we get to this word from 4 Online, I want to talk about the AT&T commercial. You guys see the AT&T commercial, they're on the plane, and it's actually a funny commercial, in my opinion, where you got the AT&T girl, her name escapes me right now, and they're trying to sell the new iPhone 15 and they want to get some food and it costs a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. But, and you have to know the episode. I mean, if you're in the United States, you have to know the commercial I'm talking about. But you know, a couple of weeks ago when I had mentioned the Coca-Cola commercials and they're always showing bottles of Coke at sporting events and at movie theaters, basically places you can't buy a bottle of Coke. The AT&T commercial, they're on the airplane. And I've probably seen the commercial a couple dozen times without even thinking about it. So the girl sitting next to our AT&T person says she'll take a water. And the flight attendant says cash or credit card. And I thought the other day, I said, wait a minute. As many times as I've listened to this commercial, there is no airlines that take cash. None. Airlines don't take cash. So it's funny they said that in the commercial. Cash or credit card? I know, get a life. But those are those weird things that I kind of discover. I also went to McDonald's the other day because I was feeling hungry. I mean, why else would you go to McDonald's? And I wanted some nuggets. So let me get something quick. I don't want to go home with like McDonald's fries as a drink. And then everyone looks at me like, why didn't you ask us? Well, first off, people go to McDonald's. My wife will go to McDonald's with everybody. I never get a phone call or text message. Hey, where you at? Are you at home? Do you want anything from McDonald's? Nothing. Just come walking through the door with this bag. This happened this weekend too, unrelated to this specific trip. And so I say all that, but I don't want to be the person that walks into the house with food. And there's many of you listening to this that know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I will kill my food in the driveway. I will leave the cup in the car. I will wad up the trash or the bag, the fast food bag in the car and save it for a rainy day so I can throw it away in the trash in the garage. Like I do that. I'm that shady. The other day I was out running errands and I stopped by McDonald's because I wanted 4-piece nuggets. So I get in the drive-thru and I order the nuggets and $4.19 before tax. I started thinking, damn, there was a time when there was a $1 menu and you can get 4-piece nuggets for $1, like for years. And now they cost over $1 each. If nuggets aren't that expensive where you live, let me know. I don't go to McDonald's that much. And for a while, I swore off of their nuggets for a couple years, actually. But now I still eat them. And the reason I swore off of them is because one day I found a dried up chicken nugget on the ground and had no bugs, no nothing. It was one of Zeke's. I go, if the bugs won't eat this, why would I eat this? And so I swore off of McDonald's chicken nuggets, and it only lasted like a year or two. $4.19 before tax ended up being like $4.50 something. It all worked out for me. because the guy goes, here, 6-piece nuggets. And I looked at him, I go, because, I get in trouble for being honest all the time. I go, well, no, I actually ordered 4, but I'll take 6. And the guy's like, yeah, we got plenty of them. Have a good day. So I got 6 nuggets for $4.19, which isn't bad. I think it used to be $3.99, maybe $2.99. I don't know. 6 for $4.19, but 4 for $4.19? That's a little crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't know why chicken nuggets are so damn expensive. Jay Finning here, and I want to tell you guys about 4 Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4 Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. Their truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4 Wheel Online. So my wife asked me the other day, she sent me a text message because I've been posting on not only my main Instagram account, but I have a secondary one called J Travels, and that's the one, J_Travels. That's the one where I'll post vacation photos, or on that story, I'll post random memes and just funny, silly stuff that doesn't really mean anything. It's just meant to kind of make you laugh. And I'll post random stuff. But I've been on this kick. And I don't remember if I've talked about it on this podcast. And if I have, I apologize. Or if it's just myself and Wes talking about it on One Drink Wednesday. But if I have, and this is your first time listening to this podcast anyway, so it doesn't matter. But for those of you who listen to it on, religiously, forgive me. So I've been watching this YouTube channel called The Y-Files. And what The Y-Files does is, and my cousin introduced it to me. And I think I talked about this when I recapped my vacation to Minnesota, 4 months ago. But I've been watching them, and some of the videos are 20 minutes long. Some of them are hours, and I've never watched the ones that are multiple hours long. I just don't have that kind of time. But what it is there's a host called AJ, and there's a cartoon fish, which is like his sidekick. It's like a computer animated fish with a mouth on it called Heckler Fish. So what I did is I posted like a few small clips, like funny clips, on my J Travels. And then my wife sends me a text message. Are you a doomsday guy now? And then kind of gives that curious emoji, where it's kind of like looking up, being very inquisitive. And I just responded, no. But the thing is, and I'm going to burn about this, and if she listens to this, I'm probably going to get in trouble. But she asked me this question, and I'm going to tell you about the Y-Files. The Y-Files is a YouTube channel when the guy, he talks about conspiracies, and he talks about all sorts of different stories and things, and he presents it in a way, initially, as if it's fact. And that's the way the story is. He may say, I'm going to look at a speaker on my desk and try to make up the story. I have an Xbox 360 controller for PC on my desk, a couple of these little really cool Gravis speakers or something. They look like little robots. But he may say, in 2020, Jay Finning was sitting in his office, and one of his speakers began to shake. He looked over, and it was making noise. It looked like a robot, and it moved across the desk. His Xbox 360 controller for PC also started shaking. Jay was under attack. Jay was being invaded by aliens. So he goes through this whole story, and he'll name other people on the block. And so AJ will continue with the story, and it'll be 20, 30 minutes. It'll go through all different stories of people who have experienced this and what the gods in the books, in the scriptures, have told us what it really means. And I will have gone on radio, me, Jay Finning, that had this weird stuff happen to me, and tell my story to the local newspaper or to the local TV, call into the local radio show, tell them about my Xbox 360 controller, my little speakers dancing across my desk. And then toward the end of the video, AJ, the host, and the fish, well, usually the fish will talk a lot of smack on the side, and he's kind of like the comic relief. But as the video unfolds, eventually the host, AJ, starts explaining what could have happened, what it most likely was if Jay Finning is clinically insane. And based on AJ's research, I've spent a lot of time going in and out of mental hospitals and having weird visions, they discovered that I was playing a video game that had been minimized on my desktop computer in the background. So anytime something happened on the menu screen, the controller shook on the desk. So I wasn't being invaded at all. It was just me who had the controller plugged in. So he kind of explains the realistic part of it. So he kind of debunks a few things. He tells you what his research shows, but no one knows why that Gravis speaker turned on and started vibrating across the desk. It could have been a short. It could have been way overcharged, or it could have been something else. And then they leave it kind of up to you to decide if it's real or fake or whatnot. But that's what the page really is. But my wife, because I like that YouTube page that kind of challenges me to think and is a little entertaining too, all of a sudden I'm a doomsday guy. I don't prep, but I watch that stuff. Last week I was laying in bed and I was getting angry as I was trying to fall asleep because my wife had found some other stupid show. It wasn't on Bravo, it was some other channel. And so, she watches the Kardashians. She watches 90 Day Fiance, and some of you probably watch that bullshit too. 90 Day Fiance can be kind of interesting sometimes. I'll give you that. But when you're watching the Kardashians, you're watching 90 Day Fiance, you're watching the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, I know all of them because my wife watches them. And she'll tell you, well, see, you obviously watch and pay attention. You like them too because No, I just pay attention to a lot of stuff. I tell her when the girls on this TV start arguing, it sounds like a bunch of chickens. Chickens. So she watches that shit. At least I try to challenge myself with interesting things. Doesn't make me a prepper. Just makes me a little bit more open-minded. So I was a little triggered that she said that. I didn't go off on her about it. I was just like, okay, you obviously don't get it. But I challenge you guys listening to this to look up the Y-Files on YouTube. And don't fall for the thumbnails. The thumbnails are a little out there. It might have like an alien face or a lizard face or something. There's one about the Denver airport. See if you can find that one and watch it. It's interesting. It's about 30 minutes long. It is interesting. Some of them aren't very interesting at all, but that one is interesting. So I went to Tampa. One of my best friends, he was one of the best men at my wedding. I had two best men. I'm just that guy. Why did I have two best men? I feel like I have to explain that to you. Because I grew up in two worlds. I had my Texas life was where I grew up. And I moved to Michigan when I was 23 years old. And so I had my Michigan life. And so I brought my best friend from Texas. One of my best friends. I've been pretty fortunate. I have a few best friends. And I know someone could say you can't have more than that's what makes them the best. You can have a couple best friends. I have some best friends. I have a ton of other friends. And then I have a ton of associates. So I brought one best friend from Texas, and then my best friend from Michigan, he was the best man at my wedding. So I went to his retirement, Major Greg Czyzyk, but it was at SOCOM. So if you ever played the video games, there was SOCOM, there was Medal of Honor. What was another one? I mean, obviously, then Call of Duty came along and Battlefield. There was a SOCOM video game. This isn't that. The SOCOM stands for Special Operations Command. So it's the SOCOM headquarters in Tampa. I flew out Wednesday night, went to his retirement on Thursday, hung out a little bit on Friday, and then came home. And then Saturday morning, did Fuel Fest. And then today, which is Sunday, went to the RightToyota, did the toy drive. So I'm in Tampa on Wednesday night. And on the way there, I like watching movies. So I watched Asteroid City. I don't know if any of you have seen Asteroid City. This was the weirdest movie. Had I been sitting at home, I would have turned it off. But I figured I'm on the airplane. I might as well just keep watching it. It's got, Scarlett Johansson in it, Tom Hanks, a whole cast of people in there. And it's shot in a certain way where it felt like I was watching Fallout, which, by the way, Fallout's actually coming out. So Fallout's a very famous video game. And they have a show that's coming out on Amazon Prime, I think in April. But the way they did the colors, the way people were dressed, and I think Asteroid City is based in the year 3000 something instead of 2000 or something right now. So it's way in the future, but it actually looks like it's from the 40s. The 30s, 40s, maybe the 50s. But the way they did the coloring in Asteroid City, the whole movie looks like you're looking at an ad from the 50s. or the 40s or whatever. That's when it's in color. Part of it's in black and white. And I think Asteroid City is supposed to be a play. So in the movie, it's a movie about a play, because when it's not the play, it's in black and white. Oh, Bryan Cranston is like the narrator. It's full of people, but it's such a weird movie. But the way they shoot the movie is super cool. The transitions from scene to scene. It looks like one shot. And I'm curious, I'm going to look it up somehow. Like, how did they film Asteroid City? Because it was brilliantly filmed. There were dialogue scenes where it wasn't focused on, the camera wasn't focused in on the person. The person was just part of the scene of the picture. So somebody may be talking and they may be in the lower corner. It's hard to explain, but it's a super weird movie. It's got to be a comedy. It's got to be like, it's almost a comedy that makes fun of old movies. Like, I'm going to look it up and see what it's categorized as right now. Okay, yeah, it's considered a comedy drama. I'm looking it up on Rotten Tomatoes right now. The critics gave it a 75. The people gave it a 62. And I understand the 62. So I'm not telling you it's a great movie, but it's a very unique, interesting movie. And it's hard to look away because you're just curious as to where is this thing going? This thing is so freaking weird. I challenge you to go watch Asteroid City. And it has nothing to do with the Y-Files, by the way. But in a weird way, it kind of, now that I think about it as I talk about it, I could see if this were real, if Asteroid City were real, I could totally see the Y-Files doing a story on it and then asking you at the end how much was true, how much was false, and if there was any possibility at all that this could have been real. So I stayed at the Hotel Alba in Tampa, which is a Hilton Tapestry collection. Really cool hotel, fun bartender, decent restaurant. But I rented a Toyota Camry, and I'm going to go off on this Toyota Camry. It's a Toyota Camry LE, which I'm guessing is the package that doesn't have anything. So you guys know my old saying, no CarPlay, no J. So I get to the airport, and it's late. And I'm always in a rush to get to the rental car place because I want to be the first person to grab a car. If there's a cool car, some places have cool cars, some places don't. This place did not. I think I go down to a Hyundai or something because I pass all these Camrys, all these Altimas, all these crappy Jeeps because there's only like one or two Jeep models that are halfway decent. And I get in a car. Now I forget to bring my standard USB, just the standard old USB to Lightning that we all use, all of us iPhone people. And I was telling myself before I even left to grab it, but for some reason I freaking forgot it. But I have the USB-C to Lightning. And I know there's cars that have the USB-C and the standard USB. So I sit in the first car. I pull out my USB-C. It doesn't have a port. And I said, screw this. So I get out of the car, open up the trunk. I actually left years ago when I was in New Jersey, I went to get into a vehicle, decided I didn't like it. I got out, got in another vehicle. It wasn't until I got to the hotel 40 minutes later that I realized I left my rollerboard in the back of the first vehicle. So I didn't want to do that again. So I made sure I opened the trunk and took my bag out. And then I get on my phone, I'm looking up, okay, car manufacturers that have a USB-C and standard USB. Found a few of them walking around. So I sit into a Toyota Camry because Toyota has it. I go, and it has to have CarPlay, right? So it has CarPlay, USB, USB-C. So I sit in the first Camry, I plug the thing in, and I go to the menu. It doesn't recognize, I don't even see CarPlay as an option. So I'm like, what is this? And I go hit the navigation button, and it says the navigation has not been downloaded for this car. And so I would declare that if a vehicle doesn't have CarPlay or Android Auto, it should at minimum have its own navigation. But this one didn't have navigation because National Rent-A-Car decided they didn't want to add the package on. So I get out of the car because I can't find the options. I figure maybe this is one of those Toyota Camrys where it's just the crappy edition and it just doesn't have it for some stupid reason. I know RightToyota is one of my sponsors. This has nothing to do with them. I can bag on Toyotas and Hondas all day if I don't like it. So I get out. Now I've been at this place for 20 minutes. I go find another vehicle. I get into a different Camry. It looks a little nicer interior. I start poking around in the console. I see the option for CarPlay. I'm like, okay, cool. I plug the USB-C in. Nothing. Doesn't see it. Damn you, Toyota. Maybe I just needed a standard USB. But I'm wondering, at this point, why would you have USB and USB-C if you can't support CarPlay or Android Auto with both? Because I've been in vehicles where you could. Like an Audi. I've rented an Audi before. There were no Audis for me to rent. Stupid. Anyway, that night I check into the hotel. I decided that I'm hungry. I don't know why. I'm in Tampa by myself. I took Thursday off, which means I can stay up as late as I want. I want to edit my YouTube videos, so I downloaded all those files, or so I thought, onto an external drive and brought it with my personal laptop. So that night, it's late. I'm hungry because my time zones are off a little bit, right? So it's +2 in Tampa because it's Eastern. Right now in Arizona, we're on Mountain Time instead of Pacific Time. So 2 hours difference. So their 11 o'clock p.m. is my 9 p.m. So I'm a little hungry. So I decide, okay, it's 11:30. I'm hungry. For some reason, I just want to go to Waffle House. The restaurant in the hotel was closed. It was one of those areas it's right by the airport, so there's shopping malls, but there's not a lot of other stuff going on. There's a Waffle House. So I look on Google, and it says busier than usual. I don't want to go busier than usual, so I procrastinated for another 30 minutes before I decided to actually go. Thinking that I shouldn't. Because at this point, I think I'd already had a couple drinks at the bar downstairs. That's how I know the bartender was nice. So I get in the car, this Camry, and I go to Waffle House. Walk inside. I'm the only one there. So I told the girls, there's 3 women working there. I go, oh, Google said you guys are busier than usual. They said, yeah, we were maybe 2 hours ago. I was like, okay. I was the only one. I was their only customer the whole time I was there. Friendly, nice. I was the only one there. So why was I in Tampa? So we go to SOCOM, which is Special Operations Command headquarters. My friend tells me to meet him and his family at one gate. So because he was concerned I couldn't get in. I wouldn't be able to get in, even though he submitted my name. I had to give him my driver's license and all that stuff. I ended up just putting in the address in and going. You know, you just go where navigation tells you. Your GPS tells you. So I'm kind of looking down at my phone the whole time when I'm driving. Kind of dangerous in a city that you're not used to. I blame Toyota. I blame Toyota Camry. I blame National Rent-A-Car. So I make it to the base, and I'm getting close because he said, when you get to the gate, security gate, just before that, there's going to be a roundabout. Pull over at the roundabout and wait for us. So as I get closer to the gate, I'm not seeing a roundabout. Traffic is building up. 2 lanes, one way in, one way out. I'm like, oh, well, I try to call him, he doesn't answer. Try to call him, doesn't answer. Try to call him, doesn't answer. Now it's my turn at the gate. Who are you here to see? I don't know why it always takes me forever to explain myself. It's kind of like when people ask me what my podcast is about and I can't explain it. And then they just like, oh, yeah, cool. And you could basically lose the opportunity to get someone's attention. I finally spit it out, and they're like, and then by that time, the girl's already grabbed my ID and is running it. All right, you're on the list. Welcome. I'm like, okay, cool. So now I'm inside this giant base, multiple streets, multiple buildings. Call my buddy, and he and his family are at the other gate. So I was at a completely different place. He goes, oh, you're in? I was like, yeah, I'm in. He goes, okay, good. You know where you're going? I go, not really. I'm just following my GPS. Well, what buildings are you by? Tell me what buildings you're by. So I'm telling him the building names. And he's like, I don't know where that is. I go, okay. Well, now I'm wondering if I'm really at the right place. But of course I am, because the lady at the gate said I'm on the guest list. So I'm supposed to be there. So I'm driving around 5-6 minutes, and I come up to this building in front of me, this big white building. And it's not a gate, but it's an opening with lights on it. Like there's no gate there. So now I'm starting to have second thoughts. Like, should I go through that? The lights are flashing and people are coming out, but should I go in? So finally I get my friend on the phone. I go, hey, I'm coming up to this building. I think it's the right one. There's a gate there. And he goes, there's a gate there? I go, yeah, there's a gate there. He goes, don't go through it. I go, oh, okay, I won't go through it. So I go to do a U-turn, because there's like this little U-turn thing. As I'm doing a U-turn, this other car comes flying, whoom, from outside, almost runs over my car. I'm like, whoa. And I think they were probably thinking, whoa. And then there's another car, whoom, flies by. So I tell my friend, hey, I'll figure this out. Oh, he says, hey, I got to take care of something. I'm going to call you back. His family was having issues getting through security, but for some reason I got through security. He's like, okay, cool. So I drive around a small parking lot, probably 100 yards away, and I see the guy in the first car that almost ran me over. So I kind of circle him a little bit so I can get in a better position to roll down my window and ask him. So I get his attention. Excuse me, do you know where the main SOCOM headquarters is? He's like, yeah. Well, who is it you're trying to find? And I name drop, here for Cysyk's ceremony. Oh yeah, I know who that is. One of his whatever is doing the ceremony. He's a chaplain. So shout out to Chaplain Albertson. So he goes, yeah, why don't you park your car and hop in with me and I'll take you to the front gate or to the front entrance. I go, okay, that's cool. Hop in with him. He takes me right where I was, right where my friend told me to turn around. That's not where I needed to turn around. I could have just legit gone straight. So he takes me to the front door, and just before he lets me go, he's like, hey, tell, Czyzyk, I wish I could be there, and congratulations. And, here, let me give you something. So he reaches in his pocket, and he pulls out this coin. Those of you in the military, the military guys, they always have these different coins for different things, like sometimes they're called challenge coins. But pulls out this little coin. It's like a pendant coin. It's got a hole in it to where I can wear it as a necklace. He goes, here, let me give this to you. Today is St. Michael's Day. And, I'm a chaplain. So he gives me a SOCOM pin with a St. Michael's thing on the backside of it. Super cool. I'm sitting there thinking, boy, I was definitely in the right place at the right time. This is awesome. I said, thank you so much, chaplain. Thank you so much. I will let him know. So he drops me off. He goes along his duty. So I'm walking back and forth. I'm right in front of the building. I call up my boy. Hey, man, I'm in front of the building. You guys coming? He goes, yeah, we're still dealing with this thing. I'm going to send somebody there for you in probably 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, okay. 15, 20 minutes. Got it. So I'm kind of pacing back and forth. And I'm watching people walk in, walk out, and I'm trying not to look suspicious because I'm kind of in a really important place. Finally, somebody comes out 20 minutes later and says, are you Jay? I go, yeah. And I had my phone on me, and he goes, oh, you can't take your phone in. I go, that's fine. Can I check it in somewhere? He said, no, we can't check it in. I don't think. Let me ask. Because he walks inside. So I follow him around a couple buildings. We go back inside the original building, and they're like, yeah, outside in the parking garage is a thing where you can leave your phone. I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I'm not going to complain. I don't care. My car is far away. It's too far for me to walk to. It's probably a quarter of a mile away at this point, because I had hopped a ride with the chaplain. So we walk over to the parking garage, and we're looking for this place, and the guy's like, oh, there it is. Well, there what is? And up against the wall, there's like these little lockers, kind of like the little lockers you might get. They look like almost like P.O. boxes, like the smallest P.O. box you can get. If you don't know what a P.O. box looks like, just go to your local post office or your local UPS store and look on the wall, and you have all these little tiny boxes with keys. On top of it, it's just, there's probably 20 phones sitting up there, because you can't have your phone within 50 feet of the building, which is pretty amazing. So I just put my phone up there. I just remember where I put my phone, because no one's going to take your phone. No one's on property that's not supposed to be on property. They are 100% sure of that. In fact, my friend was telling me one time he had an iPod at his desk and he was listening to music, and they came and found him and tracked him by his iPod, and he had to get rid of it, take it back outside and throw it in his car or something. Like, that's how secure and crazy. Like, all this sci-fi stuff that you see on TV, a lot of that shit's true. A lot of it's true. So it was a beautiful graduation ceremony. It was just, we had a couple mutual friends of ours were watching it online because they were streaming it. But as far as the guests in the room, outside of all the military guests, and there's people who flew in from around the world for this. There were 12 or 13 of the 20-something guys, I think they're called solos, flew in from all different parts of the world. And there's his immediate family. So his parents, his two sisters, and his wife, and then me. So we're all kind of sitting on the front row of this thing, and it was super cool. Went to his office, had cake and stuff, and he gave me a special SOCOM pin as well. So now I got 2 pins, 2 really cool pins. And this guy's just the world, he just means the world to me, and he's such a great guy. But he's into some Jason Bourne shit, for sure. He's got some stuff. And I didn't always know what he was up to, and I didn't want to ask. I figured if he wanted to tell me, he would tell me. And then anything I would normally ask him, I just waited till we were hanging out, because he lived out here in Arizona for a couple of years. He's been in DC. He's been all over the place, but He used to live way out west out here. So I think I went and saw him like once or twice. He wasn't here very long, but it was crazy. Let me reverse a little bit. So when we're sitting in the ceremony, the retirement ceremony, and the people are coming up there and talking, it was really funny. He gets up there and he talks, and these other guys come up there and present him with all sorts of shit. You know, a signed letter from President Biden, and I don't care what your political beliefs are. If you get a signed letter from the President of the United States, that's badass. Signed letter from somebody else way up there, that's badass. But I know that my friend, at one point, he was 2 degrees of separation from President Trump. So the guy that he talked to would be the guy that talked to President Trump. So, you know, he's done a lot of stuff, whether it's here, DC, overseas. And to hear them kind of list the things that he's done or been a part of or been in charge of, impressive. He's not going to have a hard time finding employment post-retirement. That night, he and I and his family went out in his little town in Florida and had dinner. And then Greg and I, you know, we went out and we had a drink. We walked to a local bar and had a drink, but, you know, it wasn't late. And I was a good 40 minutes away from the hotel, so I don't really like to drink a lot, you know, when I'm out. So, you know, that was awesome. And Friday morning, I went over to his house and hung out with his family for a few more hours before I got on the plane and got home. Saturday morning, Fuel Fest. You guys, if you've seen it on social media, Fuel Fest is a huge deal with Cody Walker and Tyrese Gibson. I didn't really get to see Cody very much. I stopped him and Sean Lee. You guys, Sean Lee's been a guest on the podcast before. Sean kind of parades Cody around all over the place. But Sean big times me a lot. I'm not important enough for him, I think. He's never going to listen to this, so it doesn't matter. But there's been a few occasions. Hey, Jay, what's up? Hey, man, what are you up to? Oh, not much. Hey, I let you go. I'll call you back. Dude's never fucking called me back. He big timed me at Fuel Fest out here 3 years ago. He big timed me on the phone a couple days ago. He's big timed me on the phone before because he only messes with people who are important publicly, I would say, influencers and shit. But anyway, so I said what's up to him and Cody, and that was it. Tyrese was actually out more this time than any other Fuel Fest that I've personally been to. He kind of doesn't like people, I guess, or just a germaphobe, but he was actually out taking photos, which was super cool because if you don't catch him like that, then you have to pay like $500 for a photo shoot, a photo opportunity to stand next to him and Cody. And it goes toward Reach Out Worldwide, which is a charity. So it's not like, you know, but still, it's always good to kind of see him out. But I had a good time. You know, thank you to Throttle. You guys remember Josh Benjamin, Throttle? I talked about this, I think, last week that I was going to be in the Throttle booth. You know, thank you to Nadine and Throttle for allowing me to have my car at their booth with a local gentleman named Austin. Noel G, Steve Villegas, and a guy named Cesar Garcia, who was also an actor. They were there, and I kind of helped them set up the right Honda tent and break it down and did the toy drive with them. And, you know, it's a really good weekend. I'm worn out. You know, I'd mentioned that when I went to Tampa, I'd put all my files to edit a big video. I put all my files to edit a big video. And I realized once I got there that one of the files that Premiere Pro was referencing was outside on a different location. So I couldn't do anything, which has set me back about a week and a half. Switching gears, a little car news. In a recent Consumer Reports report, Acura now ranks 4th in consumer reliability. I remember maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Acura was like way down there, man. Like 14, 15, or 16, Acura and Honda just sucked. Now, I have issues with my Acura. I have issues with my wife's Acura. But hopefully we can get those squared away. On her MDX, there's wind noise coming through the driver's side window. That shouldn't be the case. It is a 2023 MDX, and it is a lease, so they better fix it. And then my NSX, it's got some dashboard rattling and some wind noise. And I don't feel like I should have that issue with the amount of money that this car costs the Finning household. Finally, nothing to do with cars, but I discovered that you can hum in Google a tune and it will find the song that you're humming, which is cool. I tested it out by I hummed Faded by Soul Decision and it found it. I'm not going to hum it for you guys. If you don't know the song, it's super catchy. It was super popular One hit wonder, faded by Soul Decision, but I hummed it and Google found it, which was pretty cool. It was on my phone, wasn't on my computer, it was on my phone. But that's kind of that's AI technology, right? It's kind of scary where AI is going. I think I'm done traveling for the year. We might have an NSX drive coming up next weekend. A couple birthdays, my niece's birthday. Speaking of my niece, we went to her Christmas concert last week. They sang 3 songs. None of them are traditional Christmas songs, which really bothered me. They didn't even say the word Christmas until the 3rd song. Everything was holiday, holiday, holiday. And I don't want to be that guy, that parent, that person that's so prehistoric in their mindset. But why don't we have Deck the Halls and all that kind of stuff? You know, Jingle Bells. So these are grade schoolers, okay? I think she's like in 3rd grade, maybe 4th grade, and this is what they're singing the stuff. And it's because not everybody celebrates Christmas the same. I get it. But it's one of those deals. Again, I don't want to be that guy, but it's just, you know, when I grew up in Texas, you couldn't say, if you'd always said, there was always like prayer before the game, or you always said something to the American flag in sports, and they boycotted that. Like every morning you used to say something at school, but you couldn't do it anymore because there's always some kid in some class whose parents are different, of a different religious belief. They have a different flag, and because of that one kid, the whole school district has to change how they've always done things. And it's not that it was offensive. It's just because that one person, that one child, it's not the child's fault, by the way. That one child caused a change in something that wasn't even, I mean, this is our country, right? And it's like Christmas. They stopped doing, a lot of school districts don't do Christmas break. Now it's holiday break. It's not Easter break. It's always been spring break, but they don't call it Easter or fall. You know, there's fall break, there's winter break, there's spring break. There's no longer Christmas break. It's just holiday break. I don't know. It bugged me a little bit. I turned and talked to her dad, which is my brother-in-law, and he's a little more serious about that stuff than I am. But we're like, I know, right? I was like, yeah, what is this? What is this garbage? Anyway, want to thank Right Honda and Right Toyota, 4wheelonline.com, Sell Shop Wireless Service, Patreon business supporter, Automotive Specialty Tool Lab, Owings Mills, Maryland. Puy Automotive out of Winter Garden, Florida, Pal Construction out of County, Michigan, Peak House Small Home Design, Ashburn, Virginia, and Traverse City, Michigan. Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley out of Boise, Idaho. Catch us this Wednesday, One Drink Wednesday. We try to do it every week, but I'm the reason why we usually don't, because I'm usually traveling or something. If you want to join the Patreon, feel free. It's this $3 a month. $3 a month. You get all the stickers. You get the show swag. You don't get the VIP stuff, which is like shirts and things when I make them and get them. Thank you, Mark Stoneman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, Bo Jung, Alice Kamina, Drew Bunkley, and Yasu Chiba. You can email the show, hardparkingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at jfinning or jtravels. Join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook page. Feel free to post stuff other than car things. It's just a fun page. You don't have to post car shit all the time. And remember, I can't grow. Like, telling the world how great this show is. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together. And I'm thinking about talking to you all next week.
Now it's stripping time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Shut up!